Welcome to the second official episode of the Fit Professional podcast. So we've obviously done a lot with the Elevate Your Life podcast, but this is the second official Fit Professional. So what do you guys think about that video, Mr. Jordan Peterson?
I think that video is really cool. Actually, I watched that the other day and it just sparked my we should think about this. And it brings me back to a day when I was 14, Seth, all the way back. And I quit drinking soda. I quit drinking soda because I wanted to go and perform at a higher level, with soccer and stuff. And I finally, that's when I wanted to take fitness more seriously. And it makes me think about all the times in the summer where when you were selling books to all of our book people, that if you did a little workout in the morning, you'd always feel better, or did push-ups throughout the day. I ended up doing that all the time, or if it seemed that always the people who worked out a lot before the summer always did better,
Absolutely. And speaking about fitness and goals and stuff, this episode basically, we're going to summarize why you should reflect on your fitness goals, especially as we're approaching 2023, which is crazy. So there's a lot of tremendous power in reflecting on your goals pretty frequently. So first off, what were some of your guys' goals, and how do you guys feel like you guys did in achieving those?
Well, one of my goals this year that actually happened, probably halfway through the year after training Evan for his physique competition in May, was that I wanted to step on stage again and I wanted to win. And I wanted to, I knew that obviously I couldn't control whether I won or not, because at the end of the day, all I could do was control the things leading up to it, like all my meals, the level of effort that I put in every single day, but ended up accomplishing that goal. And, after the fact, thinking back on it and looking forward to the new year, it's time for me to, accept that happened, even though that was pretty recently, and just kind of get over it, I would say, and look at what's next. I think that savoring that for a little bit and being excited that you accomplished the goal is really, really important. At the same time, if I didn't accomplish that goal, then I would probably evaluate it a little bit more, like, why didn't I accomplish that goal, and then look forward and see what changes I had to make.
Yeah. So wait, does that make you a two-time physique champ?
Two-time, baby. Two-time.
Nice.
Back to back.
Back to back, 5 years apart.
Back to back, Jordan 96, 97.
Wasn't it 5 years apart?
4 years apart.
Nice. One in Nebraska, one in Arizona.
Yep.
Solid. What was some of your fitness goals, Joe and Noah?
One of mine was just to complete a Spartan race, which my wife and I did. That was really cool. So being able to do that, learned how to climb a rope. That was kind of cool. And I think in just another case was just rolling my ankle less. I had it always just been injured a lot, and throughout the year I've just been doing a lot of almost physical therapy type little workouts pretty consistently weekly, and my ankle feels 10 times better, and I can play soccer at a higher level and play better and not be afraid to injure myself, which is nice. And then I also did the 1,000-pound club. When did I do that? In the spring? So
did you hit it?
I did hit it, but I never had someone to actually watch me do my squat. So technically, I feel like all of the amount of basically weight I was doing at 3 or 4 reps, I was projected to hit it on my squats, for example. On my deadlifts, I was killing it. And my bench press, I was doing good, but I didn't have a squatter. And I have in the past pulled my groin lifting, squatting. So there's just came a point where I got busy and I was like, man, I'm over 1,000 on what I should projection. So I'll probably need to redo it and just go actually do it. But that was pretty cool because I was doing 400 on a deadlift, which is a lot for me. So
sounds fishy to me.
It's definitely fishy. Definitely didn't end up actually hitting the line, but I was at 980, or something, and I was 20 pounds. I was stupid rationalizations, idiot. But I definitely in the 900-pound club, which is nice, or 950. We'll call it the 950 club.
That's nothing.
How about
Hey,
what's your
Joe.
biggest deadlift?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, all right?
Zane over
Back
there.
off. Back off. It's a joke.
What'd you say, Seth?
Val would like some extra ankle mobility workouts, and I've never really injured my ankles, so I don't really know a ton. So if you could send
Okay.
some over, that'd be awesome. She was just asking about that the other day, actually.
Okay. Let me write that down. Proceed.
Hello, what were some of your goals this year?
Yeah, I focus mostly on just like overall body, I guess, health in terms of feeling good. In the past, coming from sports, I know this is an issue with a lot of people that come from an athletic background, is adjusting to a different lifestyle when you're not constantly doing training, constantly practicing, constantly running all the time, moving around a lot. I have really bad hips and a bad lower back. So I put a really big emphasis on mobility this year. I did a lot of yoga at the beginning of the year. I've started implementing like kettlebell mobility workouts just to like work on my stability and like overall just like core strength within my flexibility. And I found, and I originally didn't want to do this because, you know, the ego side of not losing, like not being as big as you possibly can and going as hard as you possibly can in the gym 24/7. But I found that cutting back a little bit on, you know, not always lifting till I'm absolutely dead in the gym makes me feel a little bit better throughout the day so that I have more energy and I can get more done and I'm more productive. But I also just feel better waking up. Like I stuck to like a super strict sleep schedule. I eat really, really clean. And just like my overall energy, my overall mood, my outlook on the world just like became a lot better. And I found like within my lifting itself too, I actually improved in my strength because my mobility, my range of motion within my lifts got a lot higher. So a lot of people don't think that when you're working out, you know, stretching and working on your mobility is that important. You're just like, oh, screw it, I'm just going to go lift this super heavy weight that I always do. But if you can get a better range of motion, you're actually engaging more part of your muscle, which actually makes you stronger. So I found that to be really nice. And I've just been focusing on that all year.
No, I remember our days earlier on this week or this year when we'd be doing yoga on the rooftop of Canopy.
Oh,
Well, yeah.
And Noah actually got me a yoga mat for Christmas because I didn't have one.
Hey. Love it. Nice.
I think something that would be helpful for listeners, you know, to do and why this is important. I remember back in college, sometimes we'd come back from this very consistent summer program and go back to school. And I'm sure you both felt this, but it was sort of like you got almost like depressed after the summer because there's just like, what do I do? I was so on, you know, and it's interesting to think about your year on a big scale of the times you felt good and the times you felt bad, and then sort of correlate whether or not you were going to the gym. And that's sort of like an interesting exercise to think about how you felt about each month. And something you can kind of do is sit down and look at each month and see how your habits were. And I think when I used to do that, you know, at that age, it was like, oh, like, right, I wasn't working out this month. I feel terrible, you know? And I think a lot of people do that and they don't kind of pin it on anything. They're just like, I'm in a rut, you know? And I think a lot of those ruts come from poor habits, you know, just like Noah was saying with, you know, man, he feels just his outlook on life feels better, right? There's a lot of neurochemistry that goes that happens when you go to the gym, work out, you know, like squats, you know, like they're such an intense workout. They're like increasing your like testosterone and different hormones, you know? And so a lot of this stuff has a lot to do with your mental health as much as it does with anything else. And obviously if you're in sales or you're a professional, you know, and you're at high level trying to perform, if your mentality's off, I mean, good luck, you know, performing or selling or, you know, leading a team. I think that's why this is so important that you need to do this.
Absolutely. Yeah, and going off that, my goals are closer to Noah's side, and obviously with Elevate, right? Like I'm trying to sell a good amount. I'm trying to help build the business, and so mine was overall like, how can I increase my energy, and how can I have like really solid mental clarity, Same thing with like, how can I just feel really good throughout the day, feel really productive? So just like Noah, I also focus a lot on like mobility, stretching, flexibility. I just happened, this wasn't even planned, but I ended up running a gladiator race in the Czech Republic, as well as a half marathon in Estonia with like a few days notice. And the nice thing, right? I hear this from clients and sales calls a lot. Is like a lot of people are like, "Yo, I just want to not be out of breath when I'm doing things, right? Like I just want to be able to like do everyday things and be okay." And one benefit of staying in like, you don't have to be in peak shape all the time, but at least staying in pretty solid shape year round is, if something randomly comes up like a half marathon, you don't have to sit off to the side and feel bad because you can't compete in it, right? Like it was really cool that I didn't even have running shoes. I was just very unprepared because I wasn't expecting to run a half marathon. But it was cool because I ran this gladiator race and half marathon with not much training at all, and I was in the top 10 out of like 200 kids for the half marathon, and Europeans freaking run, man. So I felt pretty good about that. And so going off that, the two biggest questions we feel like are super powerful for you guys to ask yourselves now that 2022 is coming to an end and 2023 is about to be upon us. The overall thing is analyzing like what your goals were, right? So that's why we wanted to go into depth on our goals. And so after you go into depth on your goals, right, think like on a scale of 1 to 5, how successfully actually was I in achieving those goals, right? And what that does, sometimes we set goals and then we move on, we forget about them, and then like we never revisit them. And or let's say we do, but we're not analyzing why we didn't succeed in some of them or why we did succeed. And it's like, you just got to set yourself up for success. That's feedback loop, right? If you know why you're succeeding or why you're failing, it's going to help you in moving forward. So putting scale 1 to 5, how successful you were in those. And then next, the last question is just like, as you were approaching those goals, what were the actual challenges that you faced working towards those goals? So I'll ask you guys, like, what do you guys feel like were your biggest challenges approaching those goals? I know Noah, you mentioned that it was like typically it's like, I want to get huge or super shredded, but focusing on your health, you might not be as big as you could possibly be, right? So I'm just curious, what do you guys feel like your biggest challenges were facing those goals?
Yeah, like I can kind of go deeper on that a little bit. I mean, everyone has an innate idea as to what they think, what they know they should be doing, right? I knew that I was probably overworking my body. I would never get enough sleep at night because I would wake up super early. I'd go to bed late at night because I'd be like on my phone and watching YouTube and whatever, and then I'd wake up super early in the morning to get to the gym, and I wasn't giving my body enough time to recover. And if I was honest with myself, and I just sat back and thought, okay, what should I really be doing? Then getting sleep, not lifting as heavy as I was, and focusing more on mobility. I really knew I should be doing that, but I just kept denying it and putting it aside and just kept doing what I was doing. So I mean, it really comes down to being honest with yourself. So if you know that you should be getting in the gym more, it comes down to just get in the gym more, like hold yourself accountable, be honest with yourself and really ask yourself, what is the one thing that I'm putting aside, or that if I was my own boss or if I was in charge of myself and my life depended upon it, which it really does, what do I need to be doing better and more consistently in order to achieve those goals?
Yeah.
And out of a scale of 1 to 5, let's start with this. On a scale of 1 to 5, how successful were you in achieving those goals?
I'd say 5. I feel good. I feel really good. And instead of lifting like 5 times a week now, I'm doing 4 times a week with like a mobility session in between. I'm stretching every night. I'm off my phone by 8:30. I'm super hydrated. I'm eating really clean meals. I feel really good.
I think that
Shane, what about you? 1 to 5, and then
5. And I think the thing that really helped me, because when you set really lofty goals, I think it's awesome to set goals, but some people set goals and they don't really know why they're setting those goals. They think that they have to set a fitness goal or they have to set some certain goal of how much money they're going to make in a year, et cetera. And I think that all those things are awesome. But if you set a goal and you don't have a real strong why or a vision, then I just think that there's almost, not that there's no point of setting goals, but I almost think that you're just not likely to hit them if you don't really know why you're doing them. So for me, I mean, some of my workouts were 3.5 hours. Like there was one workout that I had that literally took me 3.5 hours start to finish, and it was absolutely insane. And I was just, the first couple times I did it, I was absolutely dreading it, and I knew that I was just dogging it the whole entire time there. I wasn't giving it my best. And then I had like a little honest conversation with myself, and I was like, hey, if you're not giving it everything that you've got right now, and you're going to go up against somebody that is giving it their all right now, that's what you need to think about. Like, why are you actually doing this? Why are you just going through the motions as opposed to like giving it your best every single minute that you spend in the gym? And then every single time that it would get tough and my quads would be burning and I would just feel like giving up, I was super lethargic, I just wanted to fall on the floor and just take a nap. Every single time I literally just envisioned myself on stage getting those trophies and the whole crowd calling my name, or the announcer calling my name, my friends in the crowd cheering me on, just like what actually happened. And me visualizing that why was way stronger, and it meant a lot more to me than the pain that I was enduring every single day. And so I think that if you have a why, if you have a reason why you're setting that goal and it's that strong, then it's a night and day difference between whether you're going to accomplish it or not. You're just so much more likely, because that makes the challenges, not as tough when you've got a why that trumps it, I guess.
You made some really good points there, Zane. Just the biggest one I'd say is that, like, when you're setting a goal, one of my favorite quotes is, if you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there. Like, you need to have an aim point. It's like, you don't have a target to shoot at, you'll never hit it, right? That's the whole entire definition of a goal. It's something that you want to happen in your life for some certain reason, and then you have all these things leading up to it in order to get there. But if you have, it's just a wish at that point, unless you have steps in place to get there. So if you don't know exactly what it is and what it takes to get to that point, and what it's going to be like once you get there, and you can completely define exactly what that moment would be. So like you mentioned, like the atmosphere and, what it would look like and like how it would feel and everything like that. If you can't define that moment itself, then you really can't get to that moment. You won't ever hit that target. So I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a mistake a lot of people make is you don't necessarily have to know how to get there when you set a goal, right? The how can come after the why and the what. So it's like, sometimes the how will come after you know why you're going to get there and what it is you want to go to, right? Like, so don't stop yourself from setting big goals because you don't know how to get there right now. It's okay if you don't. Most of the time you won't if you're doing a stretch goal. But naturally, if you really want it, then you're going to find someone who's done it before and they're going to help you with it.
Have you guys ever heard the saying, now, not how?
No.
I heard you say it.
Goes along with the lines that you're just saying, like some people think through the complications, and sometimes that can be the biggest obstacle to actually starting. But now, not how, is just like, okay, don't overwhelm yourself with a complete right way to do it, because you're going to learn things along the way. But the most important thing is that you actually do it. You start now.
Absolutely. And 3.5 hour gym session. Damn, bro, were you taking a nap and cooking some food and playing video games? Watching a Netflix series?
Dude, I was doing 300 pull-ups, 300 lateral raises, an hour of cardio in between this, 600 reps of various ab exercises, and 300 shrugs.
Yeah, I know
that workout. You did it.
I did the same workout.
Yeah, that's a 3-hour workout.
Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy. Joe, what about you? 1 to 5 and biggest challenges on the way to those goals?
Let me think for a second. So I don't know. I'm going to give myself like a 4. For the simple fact that I've been a little addict to my phone sometimes at night. Let's see, this summer I had to travel for about 5 weeks, and that was like, I still got 3 workouts in a week, but they were rushed and it wasn't good. And I definitely didn't eat great. So that sucked for work. So, I'd give it a 4. But the rest of the time, I've been on a great schedule of working out, usually 4 times a week and either 1 or 2 days of soccer, a week. So it's usually 4 to 6 days with 2 cardio sessions kind of thing. So, and there was a time in the spring where I was so on track and I was going up in weight on everything I was doing for that 1,000-pound club little contest. And I was doing 2 or 3 times of yoga every week because I'm just so tight in my hips that doing squats is just impossible if I'm not like spending literally so much time, like 10 times the amount of time stretching compared to the actual lift. It's usually how I have to do it for squats because my hips from soccer are just so tight. What'd you say?
Joe's hips do lie.
That's right. Literally. Yeah. I mean, I'd literally have to do sessions and mobility stuff just because they're just so tight. It's like squatting is like one of my favorite things to do because of the benefits, but it's like literally for my anatomy, it's so freaking hard to do. It takes forever. And I always like feel a weird tweak if I don't do it really well. So 4.
Stretching it super perform. 4. I'm actually going to go with a 4 as well because I feel like I did really well with certain things. Like I always like this whole year I've gotten really solid sleep. Pretty consistent like sleep and wake up time, and had certain did some research, took some certain supplements to help with like focus or sleep or multivitamins like fish oils, all these things. So I feel like overall health I did pretty solid. Same as Joe. There were some periods of the year where I traveled or I just wasn't as on top of it. And probably the biggest thing is like after hearing Noah talk, I could have probably like done a lot more. I did a lot of mobility work and stretching like before and after the gym. I'm really good about that. But let's say at night, I probably could have stretched some. And then I focus very much so on being hydrated, consuming the right foods I'm really good about. And so I feel like I did a lot well, but there's room for improvement for me from this year. So overall health pretty solid. I obviously did good enough where I can just randomly run a half marathon on the fly. So yeah, I give myself a 4. Definitely a 4. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we talk about the topic, or at least bring up the topic we're going to talk about for our next episode going into 2023?
Yeah, just real quick in this cut, Tom, make sure this goes in a place where people will listen to it. So let's put it at the beginning, probably in the intro, uncut. So to make this process really easy for you, in the description, we have a year in review audit that you can fill out and schedule a call with any one of us where we will go over your goals and help you with developing focuses for your next year. Totally free. So literally just click that link. That survey will take you like 2 minutes max. It's totally worth it. The worst case scenario is you talk to somebody about your goals who probably knows something that could probably help you. Like, I guess I'm going to make a story about ankle mobility now for Val, and hopefully she'll like it and it'll helpful. And if obviously you have ankle stuff, I hope you check that out. And I think that's good too. So make sure you hit that link before you leave.
But by the way, they don't schedule a time with us on
that. Tom, cut that part out.
It's okay. And the free 5-day program, if you want to include that in there.
Oh, and also when you fill that out, you get a free 5-day program where we can make some workouts for you, give you some ideas. And again, the worst case scenario is that you just have ideas for workouts that you can take away and use. And if you're loving that and want to talk about anything else with coaching or any other meal stuff, we can get you connected with however we can help you in the best way that we can help you.
Cool. And how much does that cost, Joe?
It's free.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Totally free. And throughout the series that we're doing, podcast a week or so on, we're the next few are all going to be about how to start your year right. And in fact, in a week or two, we're going to come out with some really cool news about a challenge that we're doing in January, February, and March. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening to The Fit Professional, where we bring you content all about how to increase your performance professionally through focusing on your health and wellness. That's what we do. That's what we specialize in. And if you are at all interested in learning more about what we do, you can book a call. There's a link for a free consultation call below. That's where you get on a call with one of us. We just get to listen to any questions, any goals that you have, and can tell you more about what we do if you are curious. But it is true that if you increase your wellness, you will do better at anything that you're doing. So that's what we're all about. It's going to make you feel better. So thank you guys. Like and subscribe to this podcast channel. Give us a 5-star rating. If you're on YouTube, smash the subscribe button, share this with a friend. And we look forward to getting you more content soon.